Greetings all, thedvsmonkey here. Today, I'm going to continue doing all these little tests and things on the various setups. Yesterday, last night more specifically, I was looking into when I was going to get the cage, the small rig cage for the ZV1, and found that it's several weeks away from ever happening. The small rig site shows every one of they have 3 cages for this camera, that it's at least 5 weeks out before they're even restocked. So I'm not getting it anytime soon. But that being said, I still want, the cage to be able to put the quick plate on the bottom and to be able to do what I want to do. So, me being me, I went to Amazon and I found another, not full cage, but it's not even an L bracket. It's just a thing that goes on the bottom by Rig. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but Rig. They make another metal base plate that goes down on the bottom of the camera and gives you the same ability to open and close the door, to get in and out of, the battery compartment with the SD card and all that kind of stuff. And hell, it was 20 bucks. So I ordered it and I should have that on Monday. So until then, it's just, I'm gonna have to keep putting it on this quick release plate and kind of going that way. I did kind of play around, because right now I have it on the Zhiyun Crane M2. And I did play around a little bit to try to see if I could change the balancing, which I did a little bit. I don't recall doing this, but I think I sort of made a rookie mistake yesterday, and I balanced it before I opened the lens, before I turned the camera on. And while I had the screen out, I didn't have the lens out, so it changed the balancing significantly, as you can imagine. So I changed that today, which, again, this is so light, it doesn't really make a difference. Okay, that being said, it is, and I don't even know if you're going to be able to see it, but it's raining. And what's been happening over this entire week, because it was supposed to be torrential thunderstorm downpours all week, it didn't actually start raining until I decided I'd had enough of waiting for it to rain, and I'd go outside and do something, and then it started pouring. So when I went grocery shopping, of course it started to rain as soon as I went outside. When I went to go get my massage, it started to rain when I went outside. Today, it hasn't rained pretty much all day until I decided, okay, I finished my work, now I'm gonna grab a camera and go outside and, walk around with this Crane M2, and it started to rain. So what I did instead was I turned all the lights on in the house, because it's fairly dark here right now, given that it's a stormy, shitty day out. And I'm just gonna walk through my house and blather on, and you can watch how this stabilizes as I'm walking through my house. And yes, it bothers me that I have to keep looking at the camera screen instead of looking into the lens. There's a reason why Casey Neistat does that whole sunglasses thing, because you cannot help but look at yourself in the screen. All right, I'm kind of walking through tight spots on purpose so that you can see how this gimbal works with this camera as I'm trying to maneuver around things. I'm not going that way because there's a little spider that lives in the corner, and his webbing keeps coming out a little bit further, and I don't want to disturb him. We kind of have a deal. I don't bother him, he doesn't bother me. Hold on. Oh my God, it's a kitty cat. Yeah. You can tell he's thrilled. All right. Into the brightest room in the entire house, the library. And you can see why. Room. So all in all, what cameras I've been using. Jesus, how many cameras have I had over the past several years? I started this whole foray back into video with a Panasonic G85. Wanted to smash it and beat my head against the wall because the autofocus was so awful, and ended up getting a G9 for stills, and then I got the GH5 for video. And hell, right after I got the G85, I think I started with the Sony A7R2 and hated a couple of things about that camera, and glad that I got rid of it and bought the A7 III. What did I have after that? Oh, I also had a G7, a Panasonic G7. Got rid of all those, and eventually, anyways, and now I'm left as a Sony fanboy. So I have my Sony A7 III. You know, I think I'm just going to stay in here because it's so bright, and I'll look out the window so that you can see. So again, I right now currently have my A7 III, which is mostly for stills. Occasional, it would have been used for video occasionally, and it might still be, you know, if I'm in a pinch and I'm out and I find something to film, but probably not. The A6600 became my main filming camera, and you know, of course, that I had that built up as a cinema rig. And then, once I finished that, I bought this ZV1. And this is now going to be my almost daily vlogger, and also like B-roll-y type stuff if I'm filming with the A6600 and I want to do behind the scenes or show you something on that particular rig or whatever. And I gotta say, I love this little camera. It is a very cool and capable camera. It's incredibly light. I've said that already, that it's light because it's all plasticky and shit, and I'm, you know, again, I always get a small rig cage or something for the camera that I have because I'm fairly rough with them. I carry them everywhere, and this is going to be no exception. Now that UU rig thing that just goes on the bottom, again, that's just to hold me over because it could, I mean, just because they say they might have those cages in 5 weeks doesn't mean that they will, and that also doesn't include how many people have ordered them, so how much of a backlog there's going to be, and how long it's going to take to ship to me. So it could be 2 or 3 months before I ever see that cage. So the UU rig thing will suffice for the time being, but ultimately I will put that cage on here when I get it because I want the protection and I want the ability to put other shit on to it, like the handle that I'm supposed to get today. Now, I did get the screen protector, which I told you about, that I have on here, the glass ones, yesterday also after I had gone to the UPS store. I ended up getting the second batch of screen protectors that I bought that were supposed to take care of the screen issue with the polarization, which I don't need. So I'll have those. I picked those up this morning. But today I'm supposed to get the, I guess it's a threaded adapter for this particular lens setup, so that I can add, well, I can add either a wide-angle lens if I want to, which I doubt I'll do, but you never know. Never say never. But more importantly, I can add a better ND filter. So I also have another K&F ND filter that's supposed to come in the same box. And because it's giving me threads, 52 millimeters, I do have a 52 to 58 millimeter step-up ring, and I do have other kind of lenses that I can put on here if I need to. I do have a wide-angle lens that can go on here, but it's going to be huge and very heavy, so I doubt I'll ever use it. But yeah, so the testing continues. I mean, you can see I don't have my elbow tucked into my love handle, but I'm kind of pushing the bulk of my upper arm against my rib cage and sort of holding this out comfortably. I mean, I can hold it straight out. That's my arm straight. But I'm not going to walk around with my arm out like that. I'll likely do it like right here. So my face is on here. Now I did turn off the stabilization. I'm fairly certain I did. And because I don't need to have standard or active stabilization on, if I'm using this Crane M2. You know, I mean, why lose the real estate on the screen if that's the way it's going to be? So that's the way it's going to be, and you know, it seems to be doing just fine. Don't get me wrong, I don't think this camera's as good as the A6600. It isn't a cinema camera by any stretch of the means. While you can get cinematic footage with it, you know, it's a little point and shoot, and it's not going to be perfect, and trying to get the lighting and all that kind of stuff right. I don't know if you could tell in my video yesterday, I did shoot, you know, like the bulk of my speaking-y type stuff on the A6600 setup, but I also did some stuff on this ZV1. And I tried to match all the settings, like the white balance, and I sat in the same place, used the same lighting and all that kind of stuff. And I think it looks close enough that unless you're a pixel peeper, you can tell the difference. The big difference is, well, it was the audio, because I'm just using the audio that's up on the top here, you know, through the little dead cat. And on the A6600, I was using my Rode Wireless Go system. So much superior audio, and I didn't feel like putting that on here yet. Not until I get the cage and get all that stuff worked out. So, you know, it is what it is. But you can see by the lighting in here, you know, like if I'm standing right here and I have that light behind me, I'm kind of backlit, but I have the windows right here. There you go. See, it sort of picked up on the light there. So if my melon goes in front of the light, it's a little bit better. But if I'm standing here like this, you know, it's just weird because I have lights all through the corners here, and it's going to take me a while to get the little nuances of this camera on how I should be lighting and how I should be white balancing. It's auto white balance right now. It's center center focus. What do I want to say? Center point metering. Because, you know, my gigantic melon is usually in the center of the screen. It's on autofocus constant with a wide setting, and I don't use skin softening or any of that shit, and it's just a standard picture. No actual like S-Log or HLG or any of that shit, because I'm not color grading. No, and I'm at 1/50th. It's at f2.5, ISO 160. So I think that this camera does better with the ISO. The A6600 tends to just always like max out at 6400. And I did the same thing here. I have it set for ISO 125 at the low and ISO 6400 as a max. I won't go over that because it'll just look like shit. All right, so that's pretty much all I've got for you today. There's no point in me blathering on about, you know, waiting for this, waiting for that, it's raining, and all that kind of stuff. But keep in tune for more tests like this. I mean, I have so much gear to test with this camera that it's kind of going to be the focus probably for the next several videos, especially as more stuff comes in, so that I can finish out, you know, my ultimate vision of how I want this set up. But that's all I got for you today. As always, thanks for joining me. Like, subscribe, and all that shit. And remember, kids, forward and up.